Finance Committee to order. First item on the agenda is the March 2nd Finance minutes and the March 16th Special Finance Committee minutes. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 2, financial update. Mr. Pusey.
Yep, so we're doing fine right now, and as discussed previously, we worked on surplus after we finalized the budget for next year, and we're projecting an estimate of $1.8 million in surplus this year.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Mr. Pusey on the financial update? Seeing none, we'll move past that. Rochester School District Foundation. Mr. Pusey.
Yep, so you have a packet in front of you. Some of you have been here much longer than myself. This foundation was started a number of years ago. As you can see, there are some reports from financial institutions, costs associated with things like being a member of the Chamber of Commerce, which made us look as a school department like the foundation had a membership, the school department had a membership, and the CTE had a membership. So we might want to just have one, and that would be my recommendation. This foundation also had a website that they paid GoDaddy to manage and maintain. When we reviewed the website, I didn't recognize any of the names on the website. So at that time, we kind of stopped payment just because it was something that had not been viewed or utilized, and we have the ability to manage a website if we so chose to do in the future. My recommendation would be that you review these packets, and we asked Mr. Attorney Grossman for a recommendation. The way I look at it is you can either reappoint people, because no one on this board, I think, currently is a member that was listed in those financials. So you could reseat a committee for this foundation, or you could disband it, and then the small amount of money that exists you could donate somewhere. And so those are the two primary recommendations, but I think Attorney Grossman could give you further details. Does anyone remember, because again, I wasn't here, what this actually was
I know
utilized for?
David was.
I was on it. Me, Bob Watson, Peggy Parker. Peggy Parker started with the intention that we would raise funds and do scholarships to teachers, and we're going to do a golf tournament. Easter Propane was going to donate money, and then something happened in Peggy's life, and things kind of shuffled, and Bob and I got busy with school board stuff. That was right when we were building East Rochester, so it kind of fell. But the intention was to use it as an apparatus to support education in the town.
Exactly.
And that was the intention. So it was something we did really well. We had ideas like, because you could do Amazon Smile, does anyone know what that is? Mm-hmm. And you could do it to this, so every time you buy something on Amazon, the school district gets money, then the intention was that board would find a program or system that needed funding for the year. When we first started talking about this, iPads had just come out, and we were trying to get iPads for teachers and stuff like that. So it was one of those things, the intention was to find a way to support innovation, and one of the inquiries we got was from Sherry Pedrick for ukuleles.
Oh, wow.
So that's when these conversations, that was the intention. So I think it's something we should probably consider keeping. I think it makes sense. Let's hear what the attorney has to say, and then we can talk about if people are interested in doing it, who's interested in making a plan.
I can check with Peggy
Yeah,
again, too.
she's a sweetheart. I miss that lady. Yes, Mr. Cotton.
One thing to keep in mind too, having gone through playground construction project, we had to go through small hoops and whistles to get some donations for that playground, and we ended up getting the part of that playground of Gonic through. We started going through the foundation, but it didn't have enough dates, so we had to find a different way. It needed a nonprofit organization to accept the funds or something to that degree. I forgot exactly what it was. And I was volunteering my time with the music department to get a grant, and they need a 501c3.
That's what this is.
Exactly. So I would say, they need it
Yep.
to get the grant, and a school district is not a.
Right, can't do it, right, that's what's kind of the intention, to be a supplemental appropriation for that.
So they could get that grant if it comes through the foundation and then.
Yeah,
we can-
allocate, right, so you have to appoint a board and go through it first, so I think, again, that full board will present it, we'll ask Jerry what his opinion is, and then if people are interested, send Sarah or myself a note, and if you want to appoint some people to it, we will. I'd love to get Peggy Parker back involved, she's a huge community asset, everyone in the community loves her, she'd be great to come back, I'd love to see her, she's a sweetheart of a woman. So that'd be a good place, but let's talk to Jerry, make sure we're legally where we need to be, and then if we want people to do it, we'll reappoint, all right?
Good.
Any other questions? Sandy?
I don't understand how all the finances work. I just gave a donation last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, when the debate club was here.
Yeah,
And I was told to make it out to Spalding High School activities.
correct.
That, nothing to do with this?
No.
And what does that have to do with? Where is that? Who maintains that money and how does that
The high school
get
does.
handled?
The high school has to catalog all that money.
So we let Justin make the decisions on how that money's spent, or what? I mean, I don't get it.
Okay,
So student activity accounts are run through each school, and so money in for students is money out for students. The Attorney General has very strict guidelines
Okay,
that we follow on manage and maintain.
okay, so,
Ms. Kelly is overseeing all of that currently right now.
okay, but it has nothing to do with generally for the school department and.
Nope, student activity, so
Program or
it's
something.
monies raised for students, spent on students. That's the basic definition of a student activity
and
account.
it's by
Okay.
school, so the middle school has one, the high school has one, they're all individual, so that when money's donated to, like when you gave to Justin, it goes in that account and it's allocated
So
from that.
does the Allen School Cookie Fund that raises $3 every Friday, do they have a,
Activities
does
and
that money
activities.
have to go into that as well?
I believe so. Any money generated into the school has to be calculated the same, so all about the Attorney General rules, so we have to follow that rule.
I'd like to see the rules.
Right?
You know, I'd like to
We can
know
send you
how
an
that
email with a
works.
link.
Doesn't,
Right. We can
I
send-
mean, I understand how a foundation works. We
Right.
get-
Yeah, we can send you the link,
I
we
know
can
it's
definitely do
fun.
some
Yeah.
light reading, that'd be fun. Okay, anything else on Rochester School District Foundation? All right, moving on to financial items from personnel, we didn't have any, correct? Correct. Okay, moving on to financial items from building. We had if the committee would recommend the bird banger for $159. Do we have to make a motion for that? No, we don't.
Oh,
No, it's already ordered.
Oh, all right, never mind, right, because it's under,
the
right,
purchase.
so it doesn't matter.
Say yes.
Okay.
So
The trailer?
Oh, we're, under other, we're gonna get there. And then 5-year, Matthew, what do we have in 5-year?
Do you know what your top three items are?
Not off the top of my head, no.
I just wanted you to say.
It's software.
The
Software.
three areas in which that a focus of this committee was software review and redundancies,
Yep,
bidding process, how to update, reflect the changes in technology now versus, the old-fashioned way of posting it in the paper. And then, as one that's being worked on through, people you've appointed, capital reserve funds for facilities, which is turned into an apparatus
Right.
discussion, and then special education. So that's where you are now.
so I would like to make a motion for the superintendent to provide us a list of softwares we're currently using specifically to accounting, like, because we use Munis, and then how many systems are we managing? And is there something that would work with the city that we can consolidate?
So we align with the city on our accounting software. So I was a little confused by this rationale that there was redundancies, because
Yeah.
we have the same system as the city. So I don't see that as redundancy, I see that as alignment.
That was actually a recommendation from Mr. Lynch on that committee that day for one of the items, so that's why I've always looked at you for that.
Yeah, no,
because you brought it up.
so, the biggest concern for me was making sure that we were talking apples to apples with the city. There always seemed to be some disconnect with us, so if we're in line with them, then it really comes down to how many softwares do we have, are we managing them appropriately, is there something we need to review, and if you say we don't, then
So the question is, does this committee would like anything further from the superintendent, or what he just said good enough for you guys to then make a motion to adjust your top three?
it is for me, because in my mind, if we're aligned with the city, that was the biggest hurdle I saw. When you're talking about our budget and their budget, they gotta match. And I didn't know if we had the same stuff, I know we used, I'm just, what's the software? Munis. So it was really making sure that we were following structure. We've been trying to follow the same path and trajectory of the city council. So at this point, I think if the superintendent's saying that that accounting software is sufficient and in line with the city council, then it's no longer relevant. It could be put on in the parking lot until later.
Well, then it would no longer be a parking lot item. The committee would have to recommend to say that that is finished. And then what would you like to bring up from your parking lot to take its place? And then that whole process to approve it would happen in June by 5.
Got it. So I'm okay saying that that is complete.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion and a second to complete the number one item on our to-do list. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Now, I'd also like to make a motion to move up the bid process, and I don't know, to start looking.
Do we have to do it that way, Manny?
Well, that's already part of your top 3.
Yeah,
Is there
okay.
anything
So-
from your parking
I'm not
lot?
gonna
you
move
want?
anything out of the parking lot until we get a chance to review all those. So the fact that we closed
I
one,
thought that was.
I'm trying to make sure I understand that process.
No, I thought that was.
You're all set, so that's already there. So
Okay.
what'll happen in June is we'll review it as a committee, we'll delete 1.
Yeah.
That's already, you guys are satisfied. You still have 2 and 3, which will move 1 and 2.
So next
But
month,
you have comments from the community that we always wanna make sure that we took time to review, which you guys now can see if there's anything you wanna move up.
Got it.
You can do that in May, as long as I have it by June with the committee level, and your chair is present to articulate this information. We are, all set.
Yeah, I
Did I do
think
that
that's,
correctly?
I really wanted to make sure I understood the mechanism, and I'm glad I got the right answer. But what I'll do next month is I'll bring up item 2, which is the bid process. We'll have that. Yeah.
Get him more
done.
snarky.
Right.
Talking about Paul, not Audrey.
All right.
Like your face.
Being we have no other financial items from,
Mr. Lynch, man.
oh, yeah, Mr.
Two
Gregoire.
items that would refer to the finance committee, the 9-ton trailer and the diesel
We're
bull.
gonna cover that under other.
Good enough, sir.
Thank you. Anyone from the public want to address the board? No, you're good? Okay. Under other, yeah, I see the bid. Under other, we have a Chromebook bid. Kyle, you wanna, it was on the addendum. Kyle, you
Yep,
wanna
so
cover that?
we went out to bid for new Chromebooks through one of our grants. I recommend that we make a motion to approve the bid from SHI International Corp. for $221.45 per unit.
All right, we have a motion to approve SHI 221.45 each.
So moved.
Mr. Munn,
Second.
discussion. Mr. Pappas?
How many are we looking to buy? 300?
So, I had the same question, Mr. Pappas. Are these replacements for deteriorating Chromebooks, or these are just additional needs?
Both.
Both, okay. So their lifespan and requirements. Mr. Kamiri?
So is this a one-time bid for 300 units, or is this a open PO where, okay, so if we find that we need more or replacement?
The bid usually lasts for 90 days, so if we came into another grant, let's say, and we decided we want, sometimes they'll hold for 90 days.
All right. Ms.
Is
Stevens?
it grant funded, did you
Yes.
say?
Yep, grant fund.
I like that.
All right. We have a motion on the floor in a second for the approval of SHI International at $221.45 per unit for 300 Chromebooks. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. Under other, we have a surplus of $1.8 million. In lieu of what's going on with the new building and school, we obviously want to petition the city council, put that excess funds in our capital reserve funds, we can use it to allocate and drop the cost for bonding on the school. But I think there's a couple things we should be picking up. So I'd like to make a motion to allow the superintendent to spend up to $500,000 of excess funds. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
On what?
We're gonna cover that next. So, the idea here is to cover the tilt trailer, the boom lift,
Which is 106.
yep, 106,420, And then I'd like to keep $250,000 in our reservoir in case we need to buy the land. If we have to rob Peter to pay Paul while waiting for state funds, we can get the land acquisition finished. So I want to sit on $250,000. Does that make sense? So if we get a green light and we're not waiting on, if we don't have to wait for the city or the city's gonna buy it, we can reallocate that money in May. If we have to buy it and then repay the city or whatever, we're not taking it out of operations.
Can we legally do that?
Yes, because we don't have to return surplus until July 1st.
No, but I mean, as far as purchasing land.
We'll work with the city on that.
Okay.
Until the city, yeah, we just don't know. So
Right.
Jerry and I are supposed to talk to Blaine this week.
I mean, it's one thing to be able to have
Right,
the
so,
ability to do it.
right, but if they decide they have to go through their process, then we can just spend the money and we have it, and they just, we rob Peter to pay Paul, right? You can do that, but if you wait for the state to refund it, I'd like to get this ball rolling. Does that make sense? Everybody comfortable with that? That leaves about $130,000 for Kyle to pick up stuff. The district may need papers, supplies, that type of stuff. We've done this in the past where we kind of accumulate things to help present the budget from freezing in September and October. So understanding what I'm asking for $500,000 for, does everyone understand what my thought process is? Mr. Bowyer, your wheels are turning.
Just wanna make sure what fund it would go to,
What fund?
because then last year we had like a, I'm gonna call it a reserve fund, but there's something else that we used to help balance the budget, I think, before.
It's capital reserve. fund.
Yeah, is that what you're thinking of putting the money into, or
Well,
we're
no.
not naming a fund at this
No,
time?
so in the collected surplus that we do not have to return until the end of June, right?
Yeah, you just wanna
I
have
want
some,
to have $500,000 that we give the permission to the superintendent to spend now for the boom lift, the trailer, hold $250,000 for the land in case we have to buy, in case there's a snap. If we have permission from the city to do it, we can do it without impacting operational budget. That's the point. And then $130,000 left, and he can kind of cherry pick stuff, like we talked about the wrestling mats, he can cover that, like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
makes no sense, thank you.
Okay, so there's been a motion for $500,000 for superintendent. Everyone understand it? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, I'd like to make a motion for the superintendent to purchase from excess funds the 9-ton tilt trailer in the amount of $18,500 from Rochester Truck. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I recommend to the superintendent to purchase the 45-foot boom lift, diesel boom lift, I screwed up.
Articulated.
Yeah, the boom lift that Dave showed us, from Milton Rents at $87,920. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I'd also recommend the superintendent work with the high school to pay off the rest of the wrestling mats. I don't have the dollar amount. Do I need to say the dollar amount? No, I could,
What,
Well,
I'm confused on that one.
remember when we had the budget committee meeting we talked about, and we, at special services, there was a wrestling mats were bought, and there was the remaining balance that was outside of the budget from the high school, so we're gonna just cover the difference to get them caught up,
Okay.
all right?
Point of
So,
order,
yes, sir?
the special services committee already voted that in, but I don't think they went to refer that to finance, I think it went to the full board, which would be next week.
Did they? I think it's gotta come out of finance.
Does that come out of finance?
Yeah.
I don't think that there was a motion made about the mats, there was a motion made for the uniforms.
Right, we increased the budgetary line
We
for
did also
you.
vote on the mats.
About
That and instruction, one of them got missed.
We
Yeah, we
passed,
did both,
we
instruction and
increased
mats.
the budgetary line for the uniforms, under
Right.
what? Under instruction? Under instruction, and we just recommended the mats go to finance, so that we can just, so we're gonna take the money from the excess, that's the.
Okay, so it was supposed to, I just wanna make sure
Yep.
we didn't say it goes.
No, 100%, let's make sure we're doing it right, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went. All right, so there's a motion, do we second that? All right, a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay.
so do you need the motion for the rest of the remaining
Nope,
balance?
it's just, he's got
Okay,
permission to spend it,
Very
right,
direct.
right. Okay, so that's it, which really, the city council tell us if we're buying it or they're buying it.
Just three direct.
And if we have to reallocate it, then we can, but it gives them up to $500,000. Okay. I would also like to make a motion, we ask the superintendent to send a letter to the city manager expressing our interest in having the full $1.3 million allocated to the special reserve fund. Mr.
Second.
Pappas.
I'm not seconding it because I'm not on the committee.
I understand.
But
I
I have a concern.
seconded it, go ahead.
I was gonna bring up under other, an issue that you and I have talked about, and we've talked about it in instruction and in building committee, and that is to update the Wi-Fi in the district.
Yep.
And we've talked about using surplus funds to do that. We instructed the superintendent to come with a plan. And as I recall, the previous CIC director had put together the current Wi-Fi setup with knowing that it was only gonna last so many years, and we're now at that lifespan where it's not working anymore.
Okay.
And given that it is in fact a safety issue, when teachers can't take phone calls to 911 or to call for help if there's an issue in a very speedy way, then it definitely is a safety issue.
Okay.
I have no doubt about that. So I think we need to talk about an update to the Wi-Fi system in the district.
Fair enough, I think, Kyle,
So they're coming to instruction next month.
right, so we have time, but when it comes out of instruction to finance, we can definitely address it and talk about it. We know we have excess funds, if we have to use it, we can, but.
But you're just instructing it to go to our building fund.
No, we're asking them to do that, because remember, we return the money, they don't have to do anything with it, right? So even if we have to change the number when we rewrite the letter to them, we can do that. Whatever the number is, we don't have to return the money until July 1st, correct?
Correct.
So we can change the number, but I just want the city manager to be aware that we want to kind of nutshell that. So if we have to change it by 400 grand, whatever, we can do
And I would suggest not putting a dollar amount in that letter.
that. Okay, so we'll change articulation to whatever surplus we have. Is that fair?
Works for me.
Everyone's okay with that amendment?
Yes.
Kyle, you good with that? All right, Mr. Bollier.
So if a special services fund is not, a capital reserve fund or a reserve fund is not created yet, where are they gonna put that money?
We have a capital reserve.
In the school building capital.
Okay, thank you.
Use it for school.
I just,
Yeah.
you
The
mentioned
other two-
services, so I wanted to make
correct.
sure
We
what you're
wanted to do
referring to.
one for special ed and one
And
for.
apparatus.
Apparatus.
And apparatus.
Facility.
That, but this is an existing fund,
It's a
not,
current
you're not speaking to
established
those.
Reserve fund,
Okay.
correct. It's intended for building functions, like engineering and all that stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and we amended it to say
Surplus.
total surplus instead of a dollar amount, all right? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, anything else under other? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?